What's up, my fellow Bloodline freaks? This is Bill again. Some of you might recognize me from the official Discords. I post quite often on there. This is my second video. I figured I might as well do a tier list, right? It's what people do. The game's only been out for a few weeks, so you got to take this with a grain of salt. If I make this video again in a month or two, it'll probably be completely different. But these are my current thoughts. I put quite a bit of time into the game and learning the mechanics, and I played similar games at a pretty high level for quite a while. So I feel like I have a pretty good handle on things. But of course, this is just personal opinion, right? This is by no means official. This is by no means this is the way it is. This is just my personal thoughts as of today. Um, I'm not going to go as in depth as some of the other people have. There's some really great. If you search on YouTube, there's some really great tier lists out there, some more in depth videos. But I'm going to try to keep this um, fairly short. So each one of these champions I'll be talking about is for this champion by itself. So what I mean by that is not taking into consideration what group it's in, what the team composition is, etc. Just that champion on its own merit, right? Just looking at that champion by itself. Like for instance, if I had say five champions on the S list, uh, it's not necessarily you're just going to take one of each of those champions and make a group and hey, I got a great team. Because in this game, team composition matters, having the right champions working well together. So let's go right into it. So we're going to start with Mr. Lion. Mr. Lion is my favorite tank. Um, he just brings a lot to the group. He's beefy, and he has a shield that he puts a shield on the whole team, right? And he has a lot of self survivability skill. He's just great tank. Um, I see some people say, "Oh, my tank dies too quick," but then you look at a screenshot of the battle that they're at, and they're fighting a battle where the enemy is like 1.5 million might higher or something like that. Of course, you're going to get shredded, right? It's very easy to get bursted down when you're fighting against an enemy team that's substantially higher strength than you. You basically have to burst them down before they burst you down. So as long as he's fighting against fairly even odds and he's leveled up and tiered up properly, then start up properly, I should say, then he's going to do just fine. Mrs. Tank, Mrs. Lion, you know, she's all right. Not my favorite. She, it's just if I had the choice between these two, I just think she pales in comparison to the male lion. But again, that's just me. For the male orc, I'm going to put him in the A ranking. I think he's the second best tank. I like his taunt. I like what he brings. He's a big badass orc, right? So I just dig him. I still like the lion over him. I can't think of a scenario, maybe a couple of comps that he might work better, but for the most part, the lion's going to be better to me. The uh, the female tank, just not a big fan. Um, I guess I'll put her in C because I don't think she's quite as bad. I'm just gonna drop her to D. I just don't think she's good. The male dwarf, he is the third best tank in my opinion. He's pretty solid. He's got a stun. He charges at an enemy and stuns him. He's pretty durable, and I do like him. He's very him between him and New York. It's very close. And then the female dwarf, she's just garbage. I'm sorry. Maybe other people can see more in her that I don't, but all things being even in terms of rarity and all that stuff, I just I don't I don't think she fits on any team. I just can't see it. The Kargs, I mean, I guess I'll throw them in C because these guys just aren't that great. Warriors to me are lackluster. I'm gonna be honest with you, except for one, which we all know which one that is, and I haven't gotten it to. But Warriors are just lackluster to me. They just they don't do enough damage. They could burst here and there, but they don't do quite enough, and they're not quite sturdy enough, right? They're just kind of in between. And they don't add as much utility as some of the other like same age classes. So I'm putting both of these guys here. Maybe they'll be reworked. Maybe when their ults work the way that they're supposed to, they'll be better. But for now, I'm throwing them in C. I mean, here's the. I'm just gonna put her up front. I mean, if there's one champion in the entire game that needs to be nerfed, it's this one, right? It's stupid. She's stupid. She goes out there and it's spin to win, right? For those of you who are league fans, spin to win. That's it. She's gonna be almost dead. We've all faced it. If anybody who's played the game for a while and facing an enemy, you're about to kill the only enemy team, and she has a sliver of health, and all of a sudden she starts spinning, and your guys start dying, and all of a sudden she's full health, and you lose. It, she does a good amount of damage with it as well, and the lifesteal is just way too high. All they have to do is just cut the amount of lifesteal that she generates with it, and she'd be fine. She'd be a good champ, but right now she's just broken. I mean, just in my opinion, she's totally broken. The male orc, her brother or whatever, husband, whatever, um, he's all right. I mean, see, it's just she's got all the good traits in the family. You know what I'm saying? The male just doesn't quite cut it when it comes to the female. Same thing over here with these guys. Um, these demon dudes. The female is a bit better than the male. Um, that female has the better life steal and just seems to have a bit more sustain and does good damage. It's a pretty good champ. The female blood, pretty good champ, and I think she's a bit better than the male, and the male is better than these other warriors. I mean, this guy, this guy just needs a rework, and the girl, she's just slightly better, but I just they're 1 star champs. They're made to be going in the beginning. I wish they'd be a bit more valid later on. Some of these champs just don't do well. I just don't see it in any composition. Uh, Female Lux. Female Lux is. I'm gonna put her like. I mean, here. Like literally, she is on the verge of S to me. That charm is just so. It's just too long. You know. I mean, that's why she's almost S level. It's not necessarily the charm itself; it's how long it is. It's just, I mean, at higher levels, this thing is like, she basically is just constantly charming someone. It's it's ridiculous. It lasts like 10 seconds. Um, so yeah, I mean, if she does decent damage, her first skill is pretty good too. The whip, and she's just badass. She's on that field and she's whipping and charming and she's doing things right. The male Lux, not so much. I'm gonna put him down here. Um, I mean, in front of these guys because he's still better than them. It's just the problem is uh, the banish skill just doesn't work as Nailer's charm, right? I mean, so basically his skill just takes him off the bottom. They make him look like a ghost, and they're like, just don't, they just sit there, and you can't attack them, and like you can the charm people, and and they just sit there, and they don't attack their enemy like the charm. They don't attack, their teammates like the charm people do, and he just sits there. So why they think this is I don't know. I mean, if the charm attacked their teammates and couldn't be attacked, and with the male one, the banish, if they didn't attack the teams and you could attack or something like that, then I can see. But I mean, with the female, you get the best of both worlds, and with the male, it's just not good. Uh, all right, the flaming guys. I am gonna put this guy like in here. He's good. I don't think he's as good as the female. The female, it's been brought up, I'm sure many times. I've seen it. The ricochet works great. The male ability it takes too long to gather and then the big fire explosion, right? If you do group a bunch of people together, it can have really big effects. Like I've seen him do a lot of damage, but as a consistency level, you're gonna have the female just is gonna do more, and her other abilities are just better in my opinion too. So so yeah, I mean the female is, I mean, she's almost as broken as the female girl, if not more so. I mean, the damage that she's doing is just off the charts. You know that she can do against enemies that are substantially higher too. She can just do crazy, crazy damage. These Zace guys, female. I mean, I'll put her in B, and the male in C. His abilities just don't seem to work like they should. I mean, theoretically, if you look at his traits, I mean his skills, they look all right, but it just doesn't bear fruit. I mean, I pulled a mythic one a while back, and I was like, all right, I was excited to try him, and it was just lackluster. Maybe once things sort out, he'll be better. But for now, I just can't really see him past C. The female does some pretty good burst damage, and I think she's a solid B. The healers, I'm just not really a big fan of these guys. I think maybe late game, they might be better, but I guess up to a point that I'm not at yet. I guess, um, but I'll put them in like so maybe so. The heal and shield, right? Like she heals, and he shields, and it's the lowest health person, which is good and bad. So it's not the lowest percentage, so that's why it might be confusing sometimes. It's the one that actually has the least health. So if you have two people that have bars, the bar is just a percentage. So you could have someone that has a higher bar, and they heal or shield them because they have a higher a lower actually amount of health. But let's go on to these lightning these lightning people. I'm gonna put her in S, and I'm gonna put her like him in top of A. So these guys just wreck stuff, right? I mean, they have a tendency to they go down real quick, and so you can kill them real fast, but they just they get their spells off, and it could just devastate the battlefield. I mean, that being said, it seems like they take longer to cast those spells than some of the other ones, and some assassins and whatnot can really wreak havoc on them and kill them pretty quickly. There's not too much other utility. There is a stun involved and whatnot, but uh, they're great. They're just great, and there's two of the more rare champs to get, and there's a reason for that. As far as assassins, talking about assassins, I am putting the dark elf. I'm putting Yiv here. This female Yiv in the top. This champion, I pulled a mythic one. She was one of my first mythics that I pulled on my main account, and let me tell you, um, if you want to like re-roll retry a campaign map a few times and try to get lucky RNG, she can win you some battles that you got no business winning. With just porting in the back and triple critting. Her ult does like three attacks in a row, and each one has a chance to crit, right? So if you have the crit on all three, she can just blow someone up. I think she does. She's the truest assassin in the game of the four assassin characters. She is kind of weak, obviously, like assassins should be in terms of physical health, but so she can go down quick. But she just does burst damage, and she has some decent survivability, more so than the other, like the male, right? So that's why the male I'm going to put in A. Um, the female has increased dodge chance, and increased crit chance. So she has some survivability with that extra dodge chance that the male doesn't have. The male is great because he does drain energy, which I like. That's a cool ability to be able to drain energy from an opponent. He just doesn't do the burst damage that the female does. So when I think assassin, I'm thinking burst damage, and he does good damage, but he doesn't have the increased crit chance that she has, and he doesn't have the he has lower base stats for attack, and her base abilities do more as it is. So she hits substantially harder. The werewolves, I want to love, right? The female, unfortunately, I'm just not a fan. Um, those wolves that she brings, and she kind of just sits there, and the wolves do their thing, and they can be a distraction, which is nice. So she's like borderline B, like she's like low B, high C, in my opinion. The werewolf, on the other hand, I'm gonna put him in an A. Um, he is good. This guy, his fear is crazy. The suppression is cool. He jumps on people, and the fear, yeah, it's an AOE fear, right? So sometimes I've seen that kind of be a double-edged sword. However, like the AOE fear I've used, and sometimes they like spread out, and my melee guys are trying to like follow them a step at a time, and they like end up not even hitting him or just barely once. But the range people have no issues. They're just sitting there bursting them down. So if you have a melee heavy comp, I don't think he's as good. I think it's more if you got make sure to have at least if the more range you have, the better when you're with him because when they're spreading out with the fear, they don't lose the attacks. All right. Speaking of other marksmen, this one is tough, right? I'm gonna put her in B, but if it depends on the situation, right? If we are talking about boss battles, then that's the thing. I'm talking about 5 on 5 with this comp, right? That's one thing I didn't say in the beginning. With this tier, I'm talking about 5 on 5 arena battles, campaign battles, etc. If we're talking about boss fights, then we got completely different tier levels, right? Like she's S tier when it comes to boss fights because of her abilities. They're percentage based, and it's just she does crazy damage. But in 5 on 5 battles, she's good, but I'd say middle of the pack. And her buddy, um, he's like top C, uh, not not as good as the girl. The girl is better. Um, Man, these guys, they just get no love. But ugh, I mean, I'm just gonna have to not give them love either. I don't know. I want to like him. I want to like the male dwarf. I've tried to use this guy a few times. He was one of the first higher tier guys I got the first day I played the game. I picked up an epic like right away, and and as soon as I took him out, my lineup just got better. So I don't know. Maybe someone has something that works for these people, but I'm just not a huge fan. The dark elves, male C. I mean, he's okay. The female, I'm gonna put her in B. She's actually pretty good. She does pretty good damage, better than I would think. I picked up a mythic one of her in one of my alt accounts, and I put her in. And you know what? I was surprised at the damage she does. I like to look at the damage results after some of the battles, a lot of the battles, and see where the damage is being done. And it doesn't seem like it, but if you look at the damage reports, she actually puts out a pretty good amount. All right, tied the female. With her broken whatnot, I'm gonna put her in C. I know some people like love her, but with her broken ult, man, I'm sorry. It's just she's high C. That's it. Maybe if they fixed her, she'd be like A. But with not fixed, she's C. And then the male tide. I mean, this guy, this is my order of six broken the six best champs in order. I can't. What do you say about this male tide? I mean, he does this scorpion move, the get over here. He lashes out, pulls him towards him. He does heavy damage. This dude hits hard, and he pulls the enemies towards him. And he's just a great champ. I mean, he's one of those that you can put in any rarity level, and he's gonna help you out. He's just really, really solid. So that's all I got, guys. um, and girls. So again, these are my opinions, and they are subject to change. And maybe if some people leave in the comments some different things about different champions, I'd be happy to try some different combinations and see maybe in some different group settings these guys can work differently. But these champions up here are just super solid in my opinion. They can fit in most lineups. And they're just going to do. They're just performing at a higher level than these other ones, either through utility, through damage, through survivability, or all the above. These are champions that are worth upgrading, and I'll stand by that. The A are solid choices. These are great champions, especially in the right fit. B, they're kind of like interchangeable parts. You can just kind of just put them in wherever, and they'll help out a team. They won't really hurt it, but they won't really help it too much. It's kind of like neutral. The C, these guys are, you know, they're not really going to help you too much, in my opinion. Where they are right now, these things can change. And then D, these are the bottom of the barrel right now. In terms of, I can't really see these people helping many teams right now. I'm not a huge fan. But again, that can always change. Well, thanks for listening, and I appreciate any comments. And thank you.